So, so welcome to week two. It has been another week. So I don't know if any of you have been experiencing the electromagnetic solar flare type of activity, or if you're not aware that you are. I'm just going to share with you some of the effects that it's been having on me. I'm actually very much like a barometer right now. I am very much feeling the frequency shifts more so than I was before. So I will tell you that. I did feel it before, but I'm feeling it a little bit more now. So my particular symptoms, and they seemed, I'm literally almost like a full on barometer, like when the geomagnetic storm happens, or a Schumann resonance pop, or a timeline blackout. I'm literally like, I can feel it as it's happening. So I have been checking myself and clearing myself regardless. So clearing any low vibrational thoughts and doing that. But I'll get extreme fatigue out of nowhere. Like I just have to stop, drop, and sleep. So if that is any of you guys right now, you can even see it in me. I'm like really just not quite myself, which is really great because Charlene is the guest speaker tonight. So, and you look fantastic, Charlene. So there's that. But if any of you guys have any questions about that before we get into tonight's work, I will open the floor now. Has anybody been experiencing anything different, strange, or are you feeling good? Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, just as you said, well, fatigued, but also there's been a lot of things happening very quickly in
Mm.
my sphere. Very
Mm.
quick. It's
That,
not, it's almost chaotic.
that's another symptom. It's called chaos energy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels, a little chaotic.
Yeah.
And tired. I'm tired. It's unusual for me to feel so fatigued.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that because it makes everyone else feel a little bit better to know. It's very sad that we want each other to be as tired as we are, but at least it just gives us a little bit of like, okay, it's not just me.
Right.
So the other thing that happened to me was headache. So specifically Saturday, I think Lori, you got the same thing happening that I did. I think it was Saturday. Was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday around 4:30. I was fine, and then I was not. And it was like I could just bring myself to the bed to sleep. And then
My
had I
phone did that.
oh did it? Okay,
My
that's
phone on Saturday afternoon, it started restarting itself. I
oh
just came back from Apple a little bit ago, and my whole motherboard was gone for my brand new iPhone 15. Like the whole thing was fried.
oh my God, your energy did that.
Mhm.
So that's another thing. Thank you for bringing that up. That's another thing that can happen during this time. And no, it's not just Mercury retrograde. Okay. Um, dark energy can very much use technology to, they can't do anything to us, guys. So, what I'm going to remind you to do is not to get frustrated because when technology starts to, that's part of the chaos energy. I see this all the time. You guys have probably seen this too in some of our group meetings I've done in the past when I'm working with someone specifically and their energies do not want me to do it, they'll like freeze that one person. So just as a reminder, okay, that the darker beings use everything. They use our kids, they use our loved ones who are kind of sleeping and not aware, like we are, okay? They use technology. They use my daughter's car just would not start again. It's all the things. My computer, they've done like shut my computer down before, and then I gridded it with crystals, and I asked for it to turn back on. So basically, we are living in a sci-fi movie. Okay. Like it's real and all of us are here as witnesses, so you're not crazy. Okay, so that's what I want to lead with today. uh, and if anyone has any more specific questions around that, or if you want me to tune in on whatever has been happening to validate or to is there something specific that might have been happening to you? And if you're not experiencing any of this, amazing. That's really great for you. But likely you will. Okay. At some point, either you or someone else or the other people around you or your technology. And so, what I want you to do is not be afraid of it. I want it to empower you, if you can, if that makes sense to you. Okay. So, the only reason why these things are happening, even if it's, let me clarify this, even if it's chaos energy within yourself, this was a drop that just came in. Watch your own chaos energy. Okay. So when we are being impacted or bombarded by frequencies and we are, being upgraded and our clairs are all popping in and all this stuff is going on. Okay. It's easier for us to get overwhelmed, even at something that we're not even conscious that we're overwhelmed at. So please very much watch your own reactions, your own chaos energy. So today, for example, if I had 3 sessions today, which is a lot for today, plus. And if I didn't just stop, drop, and sleep after my last and clear myself properly, then I probably would have gone into another whole tailspin. So I was aware that energetically I had reached my max point. Okay. And so I had these overwhelming, I can't, blah, blah, blah. Instead, I just went, no, 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 no. I'm going, I'm going to clear myself. I got a little backup and I went and laid down and I asked to be the clear channel again. And I asked for my energy to be rebooted.
Mm.
Okay. So sometimes that chaos energy is within ourselves. They just told me to clarify that with you. Okay. So any questions here? Yes, Shelley.
I just wanted to, oh, sorry. I can't talk when I have both ears in. It's too weird for my head. I was wondering if anyone else is experiencing not being able to grasp what day it is and hold on to it.
Oh, look at this. I guess so.
To the point yesterday where I had to write it on a sticky note and stick it. I had to work yesterday. Just at home. I'm not just at home, but I work at home and I have a fair bit to do between now and the end of the month. And so I decided to work yesterday and I had to keep reminding myself what day it was, to the point where I actually wrote it. I wrote it on a sticky note on my desk.
Wow. Okay. So what you're experiencing is a result of timeline shifting. So we are moving through major timeline shifts as a collective, but also within yourselves. So if I can just explain this too. So the entire collective and the planetary energy is faster right now, okay? And then we're leaping through these timelines, which just mean we don't have to play out the scenario, right? Which is a good thing, okay? But when we're leaping over a timeline, right? Whether it's your own or a planetary one, it trips you up. So your whole experience of time and space can be really wonky right now. And again, I feel like we're the lucky ones because we understand what's happening. Can you imagine those who are not haven't gotten the memo yet or have been refusing to open their eyes and understand? This is where that chaos is going to ensue outside of us. If this is happening to you, and you're not afraid, you're not like, oh God, I'm having I'm going crazy or I'm, having some sort of psychic, I don't know, whatever, physical, chronic illness, whatever, heart attack. Shelley actually did have a bit of a scare that was a heart attack. That wasn't a heart attack. That's why that's funny, but it's not really funny, but you know what I mean. But the point is, you weren't having one, right? Can you imagine if you were like stuck in that third density box before where you didn't have an explanation for what was going on? So again, hold space. But yeah, timeline leaks are big, and they can leave you feeling like flat on your ass as well. So continue also, guys, with daily when you wake up in the morning, which is why we're having this conversation with Charlene tonight, because our physical bodies are the vessels that are carrying us through this. Okay. So we need to be clearing and cleansing all 4 of our bodies right now. Okay. It's like of the utmost importance. And that's why she's here tonight to talk to us about this. So you need to be doing your energetic protocols, your clearing, your white light from your heart activation, golden white light. I placed golden white light around my car and myself yesterday as I went into downtown Toronto to go to an event that I was called to go to, but really did not want to go down into that chaos. And I sailed in. I got a free parking spot downtown Toronto. I shit you not. And no chaos at all. And all I did was I asked for a golden white light protection around my car. I could feel myself going, oh no, I can't do this. And so golden white light protection, you guys, just constant, okay? And clearing constant, but without fear. So remember, you're getting the things to clear. And then before we go to Charlene, does anybody want to share a piece of their homework from last week that would probably blow the world away here? Yeah, I knew somebody did. Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, I really
What happened for you, Michelle? What happened for you?
You're just like, there's something good to share. But you don't know what though. Yeah. So basically, I am always afraid of the dark. And I've been afraid of the dark for a long time, that kind of stuff. Just always, whenever I was young, I always saw like glowing eyes and that kind of stuff. Very great. And so I also watch this YouTube series called The Y-Files, which does a lot of like conspiracy theories, but reveals the truth and the fiction about a lot of the stuff out there about aliens and so on. So basically, the YouTube version of all confirming all the stuff that's real. So it's like aliens, Bigfoot, and everything. It's kind of fun actually to kind of go, that's real, that's real. Oh my gosh, the government is basically hiding everything. It is fake. I'm that person.
I think you're pretty much in the right company here. I'm pretty sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, like the government is fake, everything is real, the new social order, social media, yada yada. Anyway, so one of the episodes about the series is about Neanderthals, and Neanderthals are a previous species of, I guess you could say, humanoids in a sense, that evolved, that are like massive, hairy, monkey beast, pure muscle that essentially attacked and ate humans. And so when the human species started evolving, there's about 7 to 9 different populations scattered around the earth. And we were all humans, we were very like unprotected. So that's where our primal fear comes from, is from those initial beginning days when they created human species to mine the gold and yada yada. Really great.
Or when the human species were implanted onto the planet.
Anunnaki.
There we go.
Yeah, so Anunnaki are species that essentially created the humans to mine gold, because we were very rich in these kind of alloyed and human, that kind of stuff, to save their planet. So it's a lot of like intergalactic stuff, so many levels.
Lots coming in. Yes, I agreed.
So the Neanderthals were essentially a species that were attacking and ravaging humans. And at that point in time, so they were essentially killing the males and eating them. And for the women, they were taking them to either kill them or breed with them and mate with them. And so my meditation, when I was clearing my chakras with I called it my lion meditation, because I had to bring my courage. So I created like a little lion to like going through the grass for every chakra. And once I got to my throat chakra, I uncovered a past life. And I always had these weird fears of the dark and everything. And so but this led me to my ancestral line. So I always had this weird species where like, hey, maybe I'm part Neanderthal. Well, it brought me to that relative who was sexually abused and ravaged and killed by Neanderthal.
I'm sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like, do you have to watch this? I'm like, you have to watch this. I'm like, oh, because I, at that point, they bit out my throat, and that's why it was in my throat chakra.
Okay, yeah. Unfortunately, you guys, we've got some galactic and other non-human lifetimes that we also need to clear. Plot twist. Yes, Michelle, well done, and you did it.
Thank you. Yeah.
The other beings that were also, so plot twist on this one too, dinosaurs were actually here as one of the original species on the planet Earth. And we also thought they were after us, but we were actually here on their land, and they were just carnivores. And so, yeah, so so plot twist, guys, there's more than just our human lives to clear. So if any of this stuff is coming up for you right now, tune in like Michelle did and keep going. And it might sound like a scary X-Files episode or a strange, but don't be surprised, because we're into that phase now where we're not just clearing our human incarnations. So there's that. Very good. Okay, so did anyone else want to share the specific homework last week was what is happening for you? Does anyone want to share a something that happened this week, or something that you've been thinking or doing that maybe you would have thought before is happening to you, that is now happening, that you now realize is happening for you? Anybody do the work? I'm sure you did in the moment. I'll give you that. Jen, go ahead.
Jen. I've had this for like as far back as I can remember. It's a theme with me that I don't like to say it out loud, but I have to. It's I hate men.
Okay, yeah.
And I've had a lot of relationships. And it always feels like that it goes wrong some way or another. And I'm realizing I'm playing it out with my husband really bad. Like I'm just and it's happening for me. It's to change me. It's happening for me. It's happening.
Wow.
Yeah, it's because I'm realizing the more it happens, like when it happens, I want
Right.
it's like it's to change.
Happening for you to transmute it up and out.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Huge breakthrough. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you share with everybody when you notice it? Can you share what your protocol is, or how do you recognize it and then shift it out?
It's when I get so frustrated. I get so frustrated and so angry that I blame me.
Okay.
I start blaming me, but then I don't want to blame me.
Okay.
And I put it out to him, and I blame him for everything and anything it could ever be. It's like, I don't want to. Yeah.
But you figured it out.
I figured it out. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then so explain to me, give me one instance this week. You don't have to explain exactly, but when you figured that out, what did you do?
Apologized.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge for me.
It is huge. I know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did you stop yourself in mid sort of
like make peace with it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I make peace with it, and I let it just ride out, like ride through, and I try to do the positive thinking, positive thought, and try to like make it that it's not real, like it's just thoughts.
An emotion, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's just thoughts. It's not real.
Then were you able to actually physically?
It goes up. It comes right out of me, like right from right out of me.
And then once it's up and out, then you're able then to understand what just happened in that control drama, right?
Control drama. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
And then did you cut cords with him?
I cut cords.
Yeah,
I cut cords. Yes, see, it's better when you say it. When I'm thinking it, it's like it doesn't come out. But it's like, yeah, I cut the cords, and I say say a prayer, I make peace with it.
Good, beautiful.
Yeah. But I cut the cords. The cords are like really working.
And the cords with your past version of you too. Do you do that?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
That's really important.
I made friends with my child self, like that the things happened to.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I made friends with her.
Were you, after you apologized, have you been able to express this to your husband, to tell him kind of what you're going?
Not yet. It's only been a few days. Like it's only been like, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. But how did he meet you in that moment when you said, I'm sorry? Was he surprised?
He just nodded, and did his like a sigh, like of relief.
Jen,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud. I'm so happy.
It's just like that's huge for me.
Yeah.
I could-
And so you guys, I want to say the simplest things, just like I said, and I'm going to keep the homework till next week, besides whatever Charlene decides to give us. But the homework being what is happening for you,
Mhm.
okay, not to you. And just little shifts, even in your relationship and your own thoughts in your head, whatever they may be. Very basic stuff here, guys. Okay. It does not have to be complicated. And what you're moving through, Jen, is huge. That
Mm.
is huge. I can feel it. And you should be really proud and excited because you're not gonna have to carry this stuff anymore.
Yes.
Really good.
Yes.
Really good. So this is all the energetic work. And then Kate, you were gonna share.
Okay, I think I actually did the homework. I actually thought about doing the homework, and and the universe took it literally,
I'm
because
sure.
after a few days I'd be saying, okay, what has happened for me, or why is this happening for me? But I had such a good week that I had to turn it into gratitude. It was like nothing's happening. It's all happening for me, but it's just marvelous. It wasn't any one thing. It was just such a great week
Which
that
means your
it
entire frequency shifted up.
something happened. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, it just kept getting better and better. So it literally, like, what if I would think of the homework and I'd say, okay, I have nothing to say. What's happening for me? And then I went, yes, everything's happening
Everything.
for me. Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really
And how would
cool.
you describe your so if you could like revert back to your 2 week self from 2 weeks ago before this process was restarted for you, because you've been doing the work for a while, right? But showing up to this group has reignited another, has something shifted already in you as far as lifting?
Well, I just have changed location for a very short amount of time, and so there's people here that I really love and haven't seen for a long, long time, and I'm just having a really great time.
Amazing.
So if that had happened, like, it's not just the 2 week thing. If you know what I like, the whole
Yeah.
everything's changed for a very short, for 1 month in my life, and then I go back to kind of normal life next month or so. But when I look around every day, I go, wow, like, I don't have anything to complain about, and nothing's happening to me. It's all happening for me.
That's
But
amazing.
even thinking of the homework and wanting to do it was amazing.
Yes, Kate, I remember that about you. You're like, no, no, thank you.
And then I tried to find the book, but they didn't have it at this bookstore I went to. I said I need to read it, and they're saying they don't carry it. It would take too long to order it. But 2 things I've done.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, so we're already getting some movement here. This is great. So I'm gonna add this whole homework to keep going. Okay, please keep going. Is there anybody else that needs to share before we move into our next topics? There's many things that we're going to need to go over. Good. Okay, so I'm going to officially introduce you to my beautiful friend, although you know her because she's been here with us. But this is Charlene Stiles. She's a nutritionist and a holistic life coach, and so much more. And I actually just want to say to you, Charlene, because I'm hoping you will continue to join us through this process. Um, but you are beyond that, you are the first person that actually got it through my thick noggin that everything is energy. And so I am like forever grateful to you. And you were also someone that was very much there for me during the tumultuous times before and during my awakening, which I am so very grateful for. There was more than one time that I would call Charlene in a very chaotic, very downward spiraling, situation, and she held space for me and got me through it, even though I couldn't conceptualize what was happening. You did for me. So I am forever grateful to you, my friend. And then the other thing I want to say to you is I would agree, and I know this is sort of toe back in for you, but I think you're now seeing that there are people that are awake to all of the things. So this is why I'm so excited to have you here tonight to mix your amazing knowledge of food and the body and the hormone system and all of the things that are impacting us. And specifically tonight, we need to talk about our physical vessels as it relates to the work we're here to do. Because if we are not clear channels in our body and this physical vessel, it makes this very hard to connect directly as a clear channel to source energy, which is what our job is, right? So with that, I'm gonna hand it over to Charlene, but I would love for everybody to grab water if you don't have it. We're gonna start with this. Charlene, you can just unmute and come right in with, oh, you're already unmuted. Come in. But I would like everybody to do a test of their water. So I don't know if you have another way of doing this. I'm going to show everybody my way of checking the vibrational frequency of your water. But this is something that I would highly recommend that you do. And I know Charlene's going to give us lots of great tools and information on our water intake, our water quality, all of the things. I don't know how much you're going to get into, but around food. And I'm going to leave that totally open to you, to whatever you feel like needs to come in right now. But I cannot stress enough, you guys, all of the energy, emotional, spiritual work you do is nothing unless you are also doing the work with your physical body. And you are also feeding it the right water and foods and caring for it and giving it rest. And this is why my friend Charlene is here with us tonight. Okay. So everybody got their water with them? Okay. So what I do, my little method is, so I want to check the vibrational frequency. How good is this water for me? All right. So I'm hoping mine's good. I haven't tested mine today. What I do is I have like a protractor thing here. Okay. So I imagine that this is 0 and this is 1. So if you're using your pendulums, okay, so this is where you can bring your pendulums in. If you're not going to use a pendulum, you can ask the vibrational frequency of your water from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 and use your body pendulum. You can use muscle testing to ask what is the frequency of this water? Is it a 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5? So there's all these different ways you can test your water. Okay, so we're gonna do this, and partially the reason why we're doing this is because we can actually change the energetic frequency of our water. Okay, just with intention. Although we still need minerals and all the things. I'm not saying we don't. Okay, so what you're gonna do then, so that I see it in the middle here, and then I ask, please show me the vibrational frequency of this water. You could put it over top. You could put your hand on it. So I'm only getting a 6 out of 10 for me. So my water is only about a 6 or a 7 out of 10. So everybody just do their Shelly, what'd you get?
I didn't get anything because I didn't understand how you're getting a number from your hand. You said a protractor thing?
A protractor. Okay, so 0 is one side, 10 is another. Or it might, so this is like 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just my way of measuring it.
It's on a curve.
Yeah. So it's like,
okay.
So like if it's my pendulum is going this way, out this way, then that's like a 6 out of 10. And then that's like a 7. And so I'm actually like measuring, that's my way. You can do it any way you want. You can say, please tell me the vibrational frequency of the water and listen for a 1, 2, 3, a number, but you give it the frequency. So there's no wrong way of doing this. You just got to figure out your way. Okay. So you can borrow my way if you want. So I'm seeing it's like it's like a 6, 6.5. Okay. Anybody Can you try it that way, or do you try it another way? Did everyone get a number? What'd you do, Michelle?
I got something fun. So I have my water bottle because like that's what I got to help me drink more water. So I got 7 for what it is right now. But I also got baseline 5 whenever I use my water bottle. And what I
Oh.
needed was moonstone to make it a 10.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I love that. So you got that down low?
Yeah. Yeah, because I know like whenever I have my water bottle, I do have the intention with the straw, I do intake more and I feel like it's more flowing. That's my intention is that with my water bottle, I'm hydrating myself more. So I know that in this vessel, I'm getting hydrated. So like when I see it, that's the cue.
I love it.
And
Very
I
good.
just need to upgrade it with the crystals. So.
Yeah, and that's very important. Good. Okay. Anyone else get a measure or metric on their water? Well, you all have, I'm sure. Kate, what'd you get?
Alicia, I'm sorry.
4? Ooh, that's not good. Who was that? Chris and Hugh? Who was that?
It was me. Sorry.
Who's me? Oh, Charlene. Go.
Charlene. I don't know if this is applicable to anyone else here, but I've recently noticed my signs when I use a pendulum has changed significantly.
Oh.
So I may recommend that before you engage in asking a question, if you just do a little test, like, show me the yes, the no, the maybe, and show me the number scale.
Yes.
My sign has completely changed, which is fascinating to me after all these years.
Really, eh?
Yeah. I don't know. As you may know, I spent the winter in the Dominican, and that's where it significantly shifted. And since I've been back home, it's kept that same kind of signal, which is completely different than.
Yeah, you got a major upgrade when you were there this year.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. But very good reminder. Yes, everybody, always check. Please show me my yes. Please show me my no. Same with the body. These are tools. They can be manipulated. Absolutely. Okay, so don't get tripped up. You activated your inner sage. She's got many inners, but that would be the one. Anyone else? Okay, so Kate got a 4. What'd you get, Heidi? 5, 4?
8.
8. Oh, well done.
Okay. But I put Reiki into my water.
Okay, you already did that, or you just?
No, just whenever I drink water, I put Reiki into my water.
Okay, good. These are all very, very good, helpful.
Different modality, yeah.
Yes, but all the same end result. It's like the modalities are just there to show us the end result or get us to the end result. Yeah. Okay. So Reiki energy could just even be positive love energy. Just doing this. Yeah. Okay.
I draw the signs onto it. So
you do. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it works. Yeah.
Whatever gets me there, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. It does not matter. Okay. Anybody else have a low number?
Oh.
Jen, what'd you get?
Well, I had 7.
Okay.
I came up first. And then as we were talking, I shifted the water around. I moved the water around, infused love in it, and it became a 9. But I did it really quick. It became a 9.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Restructuring the water. I mean, not all. Obviously, you were working with a decent water to begin with. And this is not going to take away from anything that we're going to talk about with like not drinking tap water. But I think the majority of the people here kind of know. Although we can shift the frequency of the water. Anyone else have one they want to share? Okay, and if you got a 4 out of 10, I'm going to turn it over to you now, Charlene. Here we go. But these examples are perfect examples. It doesn't take much. Even like Michelle's example of using the bottle as the vessel. Obviously, we don't want to be using plastics and things with PVA in them. But like a glass bottle, even the color of pink in this bottle makes me happy. I'm like fully in like pink mode right now. But the crystal, infusing it with love, infusing the Reiki signal, shifting it like this, pouring it. I've added water and minerals into this too, but I'm still only a 6.5. So there must be still something missing. And it might be the quality of my filter at this point. And I think that that's what it is. All right, so I'm going to hand it all over to you now, Charlene. That is the beginning, but I'm gonna turn the mic over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me, Alicia. It's my deepest pleasure and honor to be here. It's been cool to see your transformation over the years. It's really fascinating. And you're doing some really amazing work, which I love. And I love that all of you, as participants, as people, women that are intrigued by this topic and subject about tapping into your intuition and energy. When I went to nutrition school, just really quickly, I was in the corporate world, so I was trying to rectify some of my own imbalances. I was so confused with the world and all the conflicting information. I thought I would just go straight to the source that give me some unbiased information. So I was like green. I had no idea about nutrition whatsoever. I was just on a quest to be successful in the corporate world and lived a very imbalanced life. But the coolest thing that I took from nutrition school, there's many different topics and courses to be taken, but the energetics, the frequency and energy is really what resonated with me and blew my actual mind. And that is what captivated me. Yes, of course, nutrition and, you know, the food aspect is what helped me rectify things, but it was really the energy. And that kind of opened up the portal for me to explore many different types of modalities with energetics. So I will just preface that I'm a nutritionist, a holistic nutritionist, and the basis of holistic is that we nourish all aspects of self, right? Mind, body, soul. I've added the word heart in here because we can argue or debate whether the heart is part of the soul or not, but I just want to make it clear that those are the areas in which that I attempt to nourish not only myself, but with my clients that I work with. So
well, it is a very clear energy center. So the heart is extremely important. Yes.
And you know, from a research perspective and science perspective, like it's known now when a heart is transplanted to someone else, those memories get moved to the person that is the recipient. So it's its own kind of energy source on its own that it's wild. It's fascinating. So I think I don't know. I have a little bit of a distinction between my heart and my soul. I don't know. That's just my perspective, but that's probably a really good segue into me just laying the foundation that what I would like and hope to share with you here tonight is really based on my experience and my truth, my education and my knowledge. So there are many truths, right? So this is just my truth. So if something doesn't resonate with you, please don't take it that you're wrong or I'm wrong. I'm constantly evolving and growing and learning with new education and information. And what I practiced 10 years ago is very different than what I'm practicing today. And that's just because I've evolved. So I just want to preface that I'm just talking about my perspective of truth today in case it doesn't resonate with you. What I was also hoping, Alicia, how much time, like what time do you guys go till?
We go till
Is it 1 hour?
We have 45 minutes, yeah.
Oh, okay. So what I was hoping to do was kind of keep this like a conversation rather than me just spewing. So feel free to please interject, ask questions. I'll probably ask for your input at some times because I don't know all the information.
Field the questions, guys. So just raise your hands and I'll field so she doesn't have to.
Okay. So it seems like from the conversation that we've been having that all of you are pretty much evolved in this whole process already. So it seems at some level, water might be somewhat elementary, but I do also believe that it's so foundational that in all aspects of when I work with a client, that is the basis where I start is with water because it's that important. Is that important in terms of our function, of how we function as a physical human on this planet. So like Alicia was talking about, I mean, Alicia, you may want to help me out here, but when we look at the different types of bodies our physical body is what is really the vessel to have the experience of all the other aspects and all the other realms, right? This is how we're experiencing life through the physical. So in order to support our physical body, water is one of the key elements. Like there's 5 basic things that most living things need, right? It's sunlight, it's water, it's air, it's a habitat, and it's food. So some of those things, I mean, are more important than others. We can go longer without food than water. And it's probably like no coincidence that our body is derived of, and it depends on how you measure this, and there's no exact measurement, but somewhere between 70 and 90% water. And it's quite interesting that our Earth's surface is about the same. It's about 70% water, like really fascinating, right? So every single cell in our physical body requires water to do its functions. So even when you think about your bones, like the structure of our body derives from our skeletal, our skeleton, right? So bones actually need water. So inside of each cell, if you remember biology class, is mitochondria, which requires water to do its job. This is how we send and receive signals. It's responsible for so much, right? It's responsible for building and maintaining, regenerating cell growth. It's regulating our body temperature. It regulates our energy, our skin, the moisture, our joints, the lubrication, the delivering of nutrients to cells, taking waste away from cells, flushing things out. It helps us breathe and perspire, to sweat. Like it does everything, totally everything. So how do we metabolize the nutrients depends on our water intake. So I think we can all agree that, you know, we want our muscles to contract and to do things, right? So we need water. And I think everyone here has evolved to know that water is very foundational. We could probably just drop it there and me leave it at that.
The only thing that I would like to continue with.
Oh, I have a lot more, but I was just joking.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got there's a few things that.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Continue. I'm gonna.
You want me to cover more than water's just the basic thing? No, I'm kidding.
No, I was just wondering if you were gonna move right to food because you thought they were also evolved. I'm like, oh no, back her up.
Yeah. No, and I think it's important to take a look at the aspects of water and just from a foundational perspective, like there's water comes in 3 and possibly 4 forms of water. And this is maybe a little bit controversial about the 4th one, and we can talk about this today. And maybe some of you know more than I do on this topic. I truly don't know, and I'm not the sage from the stage, even though I've got a sage upgrade in the Dominican. I don't want to be that person. Like I can learn from each and every one of you just as much as you can learn from me. So water comes in 3 foundational forms, and now we're questioning, is there a 4th form, right? So in its liquid state, which I'm sure what we're probably all accustomed to thinking about water. And then there is how water changes its structure or its form is by temperature, right? When we heat water, it becomes steam, like a vapor. And then if we lower the temperature, it becomes ice. So it's really fascinating when we look at what happens with this molecule. If you think about, I think everyone knows H2O, right? It's 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen. So what happens when water freezes, if these are 2 hydrogen atoms, what they do is they get further separated apart. And that's how water freezes. It takes up more space. So it's really interesting, actually. This molecule is quite fascinating in many regards. So as water freezes and the hydrogen molecules separate and take up more space, the water actually becomes lighter. And this is why ice will float on the surface of water, right? Ice doesn't sink to the bottom of our oceans or our lakes. It floats on top because it weighs less, because it expands, actually. So water is quite a quite a fascinating molecule, in my opinion. And the fourth potential that we're talking about here is structured water. I'm sure all of you have probably come across this term. There's not a ton of science done in humans, so it depends on where you're at in your journey. Like, are you looking at traditional Western type of
Oh,
research?
no. We're jumping right past that.
Yeah. So, if you're looking for like the gold standard of science research here, we're looking at double-blind placebo testing, which it hasn't been done. It's been done in rats. But the idea of structured water, my question is, does it actually maintain being water when it's structured? So the idea of structured water is that, it takes on a geometrical form, which is the question is that really the state that it comes in when it's alive? And I think that's really what the question is. But from a science perspective, the the molecule changes. It changes to H320. So 3 hydrogen molecules and 2 oxygens. So is it still water? I mean, I don't know. I truly don't know. So this subject of structured water, I think, is something to keep an eye on. And it's very interesting to me. I don't know. I think if something makes you feel good, do you actually need a double blind placebo test? Like, or like the flip side with the structured water, what I see right now is there's a lot of talk about it, which is super cool. And I'm all into the energy, and I'm all into anything that can, shore up our health and make us feel amazing. I'm down. What I see though is a lot of the reports are coming from companies that are selling the actual bottles. So, but that's double-sided as well, because in order to get funding to do testing, like high-level testing, it's a lot of money, right? And there's no interest in organizations that are not selling the bottles to actually do the research. So this is kind of the duality. So all I can say about structured water, and if anyone wants to talk about this, I'm happy to like open this up. It's just there's not a lot of research behind it. So
Okay,
if you use it,
so-
I think that's amazing. And if you like it, it feels good. I think that's great.
So I'm going to let Michelle talk in a minute.
Yeah.
But what we have also uncovered, some of you who have been in this reboot program that I've done before, is that we can actually restructure that water just energetically through, as Heidi mentioned, she was restructuring the water when she was, where did Heidi go? Oh, she's there. When she was, so was Michelle when she was adding the molecules, putting it in the bottle. Even just moving the water is all restructuring it. I would have to agree with where you're kind of leading. And in my groups, you won't find anyone that's saying, I need science to back this up.
I don't either, but
However, Michelle does have a science background, so I'm going to let her speak.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you're muted.
Can't hear you yet, honey. You're still muted. Yeah. Okay.
There, better? Okay. Yeah. No, I studied biochemistry, and like the chemistry and physics ones were one of my favorite classes. So I'm like, yeah, like, because the hydrogen bonding and everything. But like one fun thing was like, as water gets more solid, that's when it takes up more space. So like think of water as in, okay, maybe not so much in a scientific speaking, but more of like it's a drop. It's a drop. So water mimics essentially your essence or your kind of your chaos of the time. So if your water is structured, then that means your mind is more structured to receive it. And like even like just looking at I just Googled, okay, what is structured water? And it shows literally how the hydrogen molecules are clustered better together and more organized. And just looking at it, it makes you feel better. So I guess you can say something they want you to know, God, angels, ascended masters, whatever, is that believe in it. Don't like truth tell whenever don't buy it yourself because you can make it yourself, but believe in structured water because that is where they want you to go. That is where you're removing the underlying chaos of society, because it literally is chaos building if you're not structuring it. So you just remove that little bit of chaos and it does literally help with the overall chaos of the universe. It's a literal metaphor.
Yeah. And literally, and so if you guys, actually, why don't we just pause right here? Because actually what we're talking about is structured water. So we measured our water before. Okay. So now take a moment. It's a great intro. Thank you. Take your water. Okay. Literally intend and infuse that this water be restructured to its best possible outcome for you, that it be removed of anything harmful, and bring in love and gratitude for it in, in nourishing your bodies and fields. And literally even just imagine, and you can like move it, shake it, because that helps it to restructure as well. Also things like adding, lemon or other things, the minerals that I'm sure you're going to mention, remineralizing it, that will restructure it. But from the very baseline right now, send love and ask to have your water restructured until it is the optimal structured water for you. Okay, just breathe that in, take that in. Okay, now do this. Remeasure your water. Please show me the vibrational pattern of my restructured water. There I go. I got 10 out of 10.
Woohoo, me too.
So there you have it, my friends. That is restructured water. So I would agree with you, Charlene, that that's just this big business. They're gonna sell you a bottle. They're gonna tell you, the truth is though, you guys, we can restructure our water. Did anyone not get a 10 out of 10 once they did the exercise? You didn't, Shelly? All right, what'd you get?
Okay, so I have been using a Brita filter. I know. I used to not for years and years and years and years and years and years. I bought my own water and then bought like out, water from a water store or whatever. And then since I moved here, I switched. And so the first time I did it, I got a 3. I think on top of the fact that it's tap water.
I'm pretty sure they don't want you to be thinking that your Brita tap water is a 10 out of 10. And that's
no. So I got a 3. And then I did the love thing. Well, actually I did Reiki.
Okay.
Same difference, I suppose. And it went up to about a 7.5. And when I just did that, my pendulum stopped on top of the water. So I don't know what that is.
Interesting.
They're screaming at you to change the water.
I will.
Screaming, stop the goddamn Brita. Stop. They're yelling.
Stop the Brita madness.
Don't yell at Michelle.
If anyone else is using Brita, please stop the Brita madness. But I'm sure, Charlene, you're going to tell us some good ways to.
I hear everyone. I'm all shivery. Good.
Good.
Thanks, Michelle.
Proper filtration, remineralization is all part of it, but I think the objective here was to talk about how we have the ability to take water that in essence is dead water, and we can infuse it and we can restructure it. Okay, back to you, Charlene.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that's a really good segue into like how the natural elements can actually restructure water. Like Emoto's work, if you saw like water that was infused and what he was able to capture the formations of what the water molecules actually look like when they were infused with love and different high frequency emotions versus lower frequency emotions. So we know that exists. And really interestingly, when you think about and when you look at how does water get restructured, it comes from nature's natural elements, right? Water can be restructured by heat, by infrared, and by sunlight, or a magnet, right? So of course we collectively know that our energy, our thought, our emotion can elevate and restructure that, but also the earth's natural energy without any human intervention can restructure water, which is really cool.
I really felt that when I went down to my guides called me end of last summer to go down to, they literally took me there. I had my pendulum. They're like, they literally told me to go to the base of the falls where the whirlpool pool is, right where, like, I had to pay to go down there. I was like, where are you taking me? Like right across from where the big meditation center is on River Road there.
Mm-hmm.
They took me right down. And when I got there, the water was just doing this. It was so powerful. And they told me that I was going down there to be I was getting restructured by the water down there.
Wild. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I needed to, that it was the water that was restructuring me.
Well, and I think it's really cool too when we think about the magnitude of what water does, right? Like how it moves things, it flushes things, it dissolves things, it becomes a solvent, it combines two or more products together, right? It's quite a fascinating molecule. And to consider that every living thing on earth requires water. So even though, like, maybe minus fish, but they need the water to live, right? So it's really quite cool. And when you think about photosynthesis and light, what sunlight does to a plant, it's taking its water molecules and creating its own food, right? It's fascinating. So the water is, I think we can all agree, is something that's foundational to life, to us, our energy, our ability to send and receive messages, right? Because this is our mitochondria are our internal batteries. And if our internal batteries, every single one in every single cell, from a pancreas cell to a blood cell to a kidney cell to a bone cell to a hair cell, skin cell, needs water, right? Those are all the little batteries that require energy, and for us to get and receive those energy signals. I hope that connects it, unless there's more you want to talk about in terms of the actual different bodies. And okay.
No, yeah, I really want, I would love your recommendation specifically on the remineralizing and proper filters. I think that's really
That's
where
perfect.
I
That's
want
exactly
these guys to go.
exactly where I was going. So I just want to say that, you're a collective group of individuals here, and collectively or individually, we're all at different places in our journey. So there's like in anything in life, good, better, and best. So I think what we can talk about are some kind of stepping stones and just kind of assess where you're at. And then you can, like what you were saying, Shelley, is it time to get rid of the Brita? Like, I think the Brita is better than tap, to be honest. Like, that's an upgrade, right? So when you're ready to take the next step, then we can talk about like what the progressions are. So of course, we know, does anybody here drink tap water? No? Yes, okay.
Okay, how did you get, and you measured at like a 4 on the water that you were drinking? 10 when you shifted it. Awesome. Okay.
Okay. So what we know is the delivery methods that are trying to get water to us are probably trying to do something really good, right? And filter all the contaminants out of the water. That's questionable because there's fluoride added into this, which is a byproduct of waste product. Anyway, there are a lot of chemical residues from the attempt to filter the water, right? So there's chlorine and fluoride, which we know are very harmful to our brain function, our nervous system, our hormone health, you name it. And particularly fluoride. So even though the delivery mechanisms in our city centers are trying to filter the water, we have a lot of contaminants still in the water, and particularly those two toxins, in my opinion, are the most harmful. So we don't want our body to be the filter, right? That's what's happening is when we are drinking tap water, if it's not getting filtered by an external apparatus, our body is having to do that work. So I would much rather each and every one of you, when it's possible financially, to invest in some type of filter. And if it's Brita, then it's Brita. Like, at least that's something. So what we're finding on top of the fluoride and the chlorine is, you probably know that they're finding microplastics in our water now, and also residual of pharmaceuticals, because they're getting flushed down the toilet and getting refiltered into our system. And it's interesting. I don't know if you've ever looked at a disclaimer on toothpaste that contains fluoride, but there's a warning when you ingest, if you were to ingest fluoride toothpaste, there is a warning to call the poison control. Okay, so that's just on toothpaste. Now, this is the same stuff that's in our water, right? So
Can I make a pause here for a second?
please, yeah.
Can everybody please, if you have not changed your toothpaste to fluoride free, can you please do that now? Please make a note. It's very easy to buy now. There's lots of different brands. Go into the health food section, fluoride free. Yeah, there we go. New toothpaste without fluoride.
And
It's
if
actually at this point a must.
and even financially or environmentally, however you want to look at it, you don't even actually, of course I want you to brush your teeth, but you don't need to use toothpaste. Like, baking soda with some salt and some coconut oil, or just baking soda and coconut oil, that combination, I know it's weird.
I still like my toothpaste.
Of course.
$5.99 at the Metro with no fluoride.
Yes, I agree. And I mean, yes. So wherever you're at, just know that you don't actually need.
You
toothpaste
don't
if
need
you don't
it.
want to.
But you please, no more fluoride. The fluoride in the toothpaste literally calcifies your pineal gland. If we are here to be clear channels and open that up, you need to get that out of your system. So go ahead, continue.
Okay, so basis is tap water. Next step up would be Brita, because it does take out some impurities. It actually helps with the taste. But it still has those harmful chemicals in there, particularly chlorine and fluoride. So the next step, I would say, would be like RO, reverse osmosis water, where it removes much of the harmful toxins. So like some of the microplastics and some of the pharma, but it also takes out all of the minerals of our water, which we would need to replenish. So, for a long time, I drank RO water because that was just what was accessible. And I don't know, some people like the taste of it, others don't. How many of you here drink RO? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a clean tasting. The thing is, as what Alicia was saying, is with the filtration process, because it's not in its natural form, all of these processes are happening to our water, right? So it's getting denatured. The molecule is kind of dead when it comes to us. And then we have to think about beyond the filtration system that we have, which is really interesting, is how the delivery mechanism comes to us in our pipes, right? So some of us, depending on where you live, you can have a really great water source, but how it's being delivered, that's adding an additional layer that needs to be considered in the filtration system. So there are also carbon filters. There are, and Shelley, maybe this is something for you for the next step, is there are canisters that have a carbon filter in there. So they're going to take out those neurotoxins that we're talking about, particularly chlorine and fluoride. So a carbon filter, I find, is really nice tasting water. You can find them very inexpensively in a carafe, and you're just changing the filter on a more frequent basis. You can also do a whole home system for each of these, for RO or for carbon filters.
Where would you get the carbon filter canisters? Is it
Yeah, so I'm in Niagara. There is a company here called Pura Home. They've been just sold, but all of their products have been transferred over to Culligan Water now.
Oh, really? Okay, because I use that filter.
Yeah. So they have an alkaline canister and they also have a carbon canister system. They look similar to what you would have in the Brita. So you pour your tap water in, the carbon filter or the alkaline filter filters it out, and then you just keep replenishing it, and you change your filter every few months or 6 months, I believe it is. There's also kind of the next level is what I have now in the place that I'm living is an under the sink type of filtration system. So it's carbon. There's 3 different filters. You can get one. Now that's probably in the vicinity of like $500-ish. There's also a system if you have the space underneath your sink to remineralize the water, but we can talk about how you can do that on your own if you didn't want to do your entire house. Where I lived before, I had my whole house done. So I think that's more of an investment. And depending on how long you plan on staying, where you're at in terms of your budget and your finances, that's also an
There's
option.
another Barbie. What's the if you can unmute, what's the filtration system that you guys have? Because that's the one I'm considering getting.
Kangen?
Yeah, so in Niagara Falls, there's a store, it's called 24/7, and it's remineralized alkaline water. So we buy those jugs, and that's kind of the stage that we're at. So the water is, it's alkaline. It's removed the chlorine, the fluoride, the heavy metals. It's gone through that whole process of removing all of those toxins and then remineralizing the water.
And then the filtration system that they sell at Natural Solutions, what is your thoughts on that one? What's it called again?
I'm sorry, Alicia, talking to me?
No. What's the filtration system brand name that you guys have it?
Oh, at our store, we have the Santivia Mina, I believe, the Santivia system.
What's your
So
thought?
they mineralize with like the stones, I believe.
Charlene, do you know that one?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's the same thing. Like, I also have this, it's not here right now, but a glass jar with gems and stones in it, right? So, I mean, I think what you just did, Alicia, you proved to every single person here that we can raise the vibration and the frequency of our own water without any crazy devices. So it depends on where you're at. Like, I don't often think to bless my water and charge it. I don't. That's just me.
But that is something that you are now going to start doing.
Totally. I got away from it. I used to use a tuning fork all the time, and just
I know, Charlene, it blows my mind. You've gone like so scientific, and I'm the one bringing you back. What is happening?
This is how we help each other. I think that's how it works. I do have this beautiful vessel, and I'm sorry that I don't have it here. I have the box. I can show you. It was a gift, and it has crystals in it already. So I think that's another way that we can heighten the frequency of the water. But I think it's the important thing is the filtration, right? So there's the Berkey, there's the Santivia, different types of canisters. I think what you want to look for is something that is filtered.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I think a baseline, you need to have a good filter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk about alkaline water these days, and like my opinion versus, I mean, filtered water tends to be more alkaline to begin with, right? Because it's taken out the impurities. But the body is this fascinating regulating system, right? That homeostasis is its main, well, survival is its main objective, and then homeostasis is its next objective. So is it harmful that we're taking in acidic things? People probably wouldn't be drinking Coca-Cola or alcohol, right? If our body couldn't metabolize and neutralize the pH of things that were acidic. Our body innately does that. So is it the alkaline that's actually contributing to this balance, or is it because it's filtered and filtered water tends to be more alkaline? I don't know. There's a bit of a debate there. Again, maybe just test it for yourself. Like, feel what feels right for you in your gut, and do your testing with with whatever mechanism that you're using, and check in with yourself. Like, does it
Yeah.
feel right? Does it feel aligned?
Yes, and that simple exercise we started with, you guys, it really is that simple. And but what I'm really hoping for you though is that, to get it from that 6 or 8 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10, there's a reason why you didn't get that 10 out of 10, because there's something still missing. So whether that, and I know that we are all energetic beings, water is also energy. We have the ability, obviously we need to filter out these fluorides and these chlorines. Once that is done, we have the ability, okay? So basically another way that Cindy Nolay, that spoke about water, she was my guest in the last reboot, she talked about the fact that that water can be dead, right? And so what we're doing when we are restructuring it is we are creating we're moving the molecules and making it alive. So as long as you are understanding the importance energetically of the filtration system, the vessel that it's coming from, and you are, it sounds silly, but yeah, preying on your water. Like, and I mean this not just for your water. I'd like to say this for your food too. I would, and that's the next thing that I mean, that's a whole other discussion. But it's the same thing. It's preying on or delivering the energetic frequency, or asking or invoking the energetic frequency that you need. You are that powerful. We humans have been told that we're not, and the science, keeps us in that box. And so what I ask you is, what if? What if you could increase the frequency of your water from a 4 to a 10 just by evoking love into it? What if? What if you were holding on to excess weight because you were holding on, and maybe it's water retention, and maybe that's because that water needs to be asked to be released from your body. And so this discussion here really is like a marriage between what we've been told before and what we can now expand our knowledge base from at this time. And it's exciting. It's really exciting. Things that could have like taken a really long time, we have the ability to shift our frequency. And another thing is water, us being 70% water, we can actually use the water within our bodies to literally invoke the energy up and out. It's our filtration system, right? So really looking at water this way, as opposed to, and not in this sort of, is it a great filter or not, can you also speak to proper remineralization for anyone that is just using a Brita, or, what you recommend, and electrolytes and proper hydration?
For sure. And perhaps before we get there, just to tag on to this, to your thought, Alicia, it what's coming to my mind is how we have proven just by intention how the frequency of water can change. It's interesting, and I've just noticed this for myself as you're speaking, like why maybe we collectively don't do this with our body. Why don't we ask?
Well, plot twist, I do now.
Well, and I think, and thank you, like, thank you. And this is something good for me too, like to just be reminded that we have the capacity and the power to ask for healing energy, to move things along, or like flush things out, to let things go, like invoke the energy that you're actually seeking, which is, of course, we have that capacity. Of course we do.
So again, another use for water, we're learning from it.
Right. Right. What's really interesting to me lately is this idea of hydrogen water. Have you ladies heard of this? Yeah.
We got some gentlemen, by the way.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't, oh, hi.
And
Sorry.
you and Chris are blocked out.
Hydrogen water is a relatively new concept. It's fascinating to me, and I'm actually looking at which type of vessel I'd like to invest in. They're not cheap. Is it a scam? I don't know. I mean, the
Check.
idea of H2O, okay, let's ask. H2O, two hydrogen bonds with an oxygen, right? So the idea of like our body's ability to separate those bonds and for our cells to be able to use the hydrogen, that's really what the capacity is. So adding more hydrogen to the water is, there's some really cool backed research about this this hydrogen water. So that's really where my focus is lately. If any of you know the well, the Healy device, guys, girls, guys, did I say something?
No,
Oh,
Michelle raising her hand there.
Oh
Oh.
no, I know why hydrogen water is better for you, because when our bodies hydrolyze like when our bodies hydrolyze water, we essentially break that bond, and the oxygen gets attached to a phosphate. I forgot what, but essentially by adding more hydrogen, you're creating more ATP breakage and you're creating more energy, but by creating the oxygen, you're creating more waste as well too. So if you have more hydrogen, you have less waste because you have less oxygen as well too. You can't still have too much as well too, but like it does help reduce a little bit of the cellular waste.
That's exactly the way that it was explained to me. It helps reduce oxidative stress.
Yes, exactly.
So it gives us more energy. It allows us to like have more output with less effort, which is super cool, right? So there's been some kind of again, I keep referring to studies, but there's some evidence with athletes that they can perform better when they drink water that's been where hydrogen has been added. So that's really where I'm looking these days. Not so much into the alkaline or the structured water, because I think nature can take care of that. The hydrogen is kind of interesting to me. That's just, I'll just leave that there. There's I will just say that does anyone know the Healy device, the home biofeedback device of the Healy? Oh, okay. So it's an energetic kind of biofeedback resonance machine. So this came out of Europe, and it's turned into an MLM, but a lot of people are using it for at home and having a lot of great results with it. However, there's been some kind of shakeup in the company structure, and one of the co-owners, co-founders, has defected and left the company and is now created his own hydrogen water. So using the technology, their science is very advanced. So there are many hydrogen water vessels, but there's another one called Echo H2O. If you ever heard of Gary Brecka, he talks about Echo, this H2O. Their science sounds pretty cool to me, the way that they're able to split the hydrogen from the oxygen, because I didn't realize how sciencey I am these
Yeah,
days.
you really are. You're full on sciencey.
Wow. I mean, yes and no. Yeah and no. Yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah, the you from 8 years ago would be like, okay,
Woohoo.
what
Yeah.
is the resonance of the
Yeah.
and you know what I'm getting too? It's also a lot of, I'm just gonna tell you where this is coming from.
Tell me.
It's come because we're all learning from this whole experience. It's coming from you were ahead of the curve back then, and nobody was on your wavelength. Nobody got it. So what
Agreed.
you are now doing, I'm just noticing it, is you are intellectualizing and quoting research because you have this wounding that no one's going to believe you. It's amazing. Like you're a completely different, and which is what you've had to do.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
In order to but what's funny is you're being reflected to this group. This group isn't questioning you.
Yeah.
At all. They're like, you're the expert, give it, you don't need to explain where and because they're all vibrating and they know you're speaking truth. It's beautiful of evolution here. Watching, and I'm like, wow, like, yeah.
So if you guys are all for it, I would say just keep your eye open for hydrogen water.
Yeah.
Like see where that leads you, if that feels right and attuned to you.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I'm going to be looking at myself personally, just from an energetic standpoint.
Can you also give them now a concoction, an electrolyte rich Yeah, that's what we all need right now.
For sure.
But the other thing I want to say is, if you don't have the right kind of water, however you get there, um, I mean, all the things, then the water that you're drinking could actually be dehydrating you. And it's really something that you need to, so, because the dead water is going to literally eat you. It's like a water moving through a river. If it's not getting the mineralization, it's taking from the minerals as it goes. So part of our issue right now in our physical vessels is we are dehydrated.
Mhm.
Because the water that we're drinking is either taking from us, dehydrating us, and that's why if some of you are like urinating a lot when you drink, it could just be that it's literally going right through you.
Yeah,
And
and an interesting concept, like hard water, if you have hard water where you live, that means that there's a lot of calcium and magnesium in the water. And even though that's not alkaline, there's actually it's actually helpful for your body, right? Those two minerals.
yeah,
So I'll just say about minerals really quickly. A lot of people talk in my sphere from in the health industry about vitamins, right? Like, but minerals are required for vitamins to do their job. So minerals are really the spark plugs. So when we talk about minerals, they're also electrolytes, right? So minerals, our body needs in very trace amounts that our body can't produce, that we need to get from the food. And the way that it comes from the food is from the soil. But what we know for a fact is that our soil is deficient in minerals from monocropping pesticides, the way that agriculture is done. But what has all the minerals is actually the sea. Like if I said to you, honestly, the best thing we can all do is go drink a glass of ocean water, you think I'm cracked. But honestly, that's what contains the most nutrient or mineral dense or electrolytes for us is seawater. So the next best thing that you can have on a very cost effective way is sea salt. Celtic sea salt particularly. Redmond's also has a salt that comes from beneath this.
I use the Redmond salt.
So it comes from beneath the ocean floor, which has not been touched in many years. So we know now microplastics are a thing in our water, but we're also human. Like we can't stay inside a bubble. So if you could use just Celtic sea salt, that is going to give you a nice range of some trace minerals, very cost effective way. So ideally, you're going to take, you either add it to your food or you add it to your water. So considering like each person, every one of us here should be drinking about 2.5 liters of water a day.
You speak to this question. So Beth's asking, why would we add salt if salt's not good for the heart?
Yeah, I think that that might be a whole conversation for another time because the salt has really gotten a bad rap for blood pressure, for heart, for cardiovascular issues, when really it's carbohydrates that are the issue.
And it's also the wrong salt. So
Iodized table salt.
yeah, that's terrible for us.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it's been stripped of all its nutrients and refined, whereas Celtic, even if you use Himalayan salt, at least you're going to be getting a number of trace minerals that way. I personally use, it's called Aussie Minerals. I don't know if you can see that here, but it comes directly from.
I have that one too.
Yay!
I don't like the taste of that one, guys.
Oh, it tastes like seawater.
Neither does Spencer.
I use another one. I don't like that one. No.
So here's the thing with electrolytes. Find something that works for you. My advice, coming from the nutrition space, is find something that is not colored or flavored or sweetened. Even if it's stevia or monk fruit, we can talk about this a whole nother time, but from a blood sugar perspective and insulin regulation perspective, even though it's monk fruit or stevia, that may not spike your actual blood sugar, what happens is there's a taste receptor there between our brain and our gut. Like, just try to find something in its natural form where your body can best absorb it. It's not been mixed with something in fillers. So salt for me is kind of the easiest, most direct way. Some people like adding the taste of salt to their water. I personally never used to because I was so devoid of salt. I had no, like, it was not interesting to me to do it that way. Now I'm used to drinking Aussie minerals. And this is the way that I do it for any one of you that want to try something, like, because this is concentrated seawater, right? Most electrolytes are that you're going to buy. It's the exact same thing. Yes, some taste better than others, but there's things added. So what I do is I put 20 drops in 1 liter. I drink 3 liters of water a day. So I get up, I drink a liter of water before I have breakfast. In my next liter of water, I put 20 drops in. So that 1 liter tastes a little funky because I'm used to it now. And then my 3rd liter, it doesn't taste like anything. But you could distribute that over 3
I
liters.
distribute mine throughout the day a little bit.
Yeah.
It may not be perfect, but yeah.
Yeah, no, then that's perfect.
But then I'm also using my Redmond salt, and I do not use iodine salt anymore since the first Reboot program, where we were taught about the. So and then the other thing that I do with my water that I find helpful is adding the lemon, and then I've been drinking lemon hot water at night with lemon and what do you eat with seafood or with
ginger?
Ginger. Thank you. Ginger. And even a little bit of, sometimes I'm adding a little bit of honey, natural honey from here. And I've been finding that has been really helping, and it flushes me. I add a little bit of the Redmond salt too to that hot water. So these are just different things that you can do, but even adding a little bit of the Celtic salt to the water and adding some lemon, you don't taste the salt then. Would you agree?
That you don't taste the salt with the.
I don't find it as much of a hard to. Okay, so Lori's asking.
I think the trade-off is, like, without using salt or electrolytes, what's happening is, just as you said, Alicia, you can be drinking plenty of water, but you're flushing all the nutrients out. So it actually is demineralizing you, which is leaving us in a dehydrated state. So it is uber important that you have trace minerals.
Yes.
Or electrolytes when you're consuming this amount of water.
So 2 questions. It was recommended that I dissolve the Celtic sea salt on my tongue first, then drink the water. What's your thought there? Sure.
I like, I think it's better in you than however you can get it in you, right? So if it's in your water or if it's in your mouth, like, some people from a compliance standpoint are not going to do it that way. Like, I used to back in the day, I would lick my hand, I'd sprinkle some salt, and because I couldn't get enough on my food because I didn't like the taste of it.
Right.
So I've just gotten used to putting it in my water now, and it's just easy. I like it because it's liquid and it's drops, and so
what I'm doing is I never would have put salt in my food before. So back to Beth's comment, never. But I use Redmond salt now. So I will resalt my food now, not overly, but it's like we've been conditioned, just like that comment, that salt's bad for us. Well, that salt is bad for us, but this salt,
absolutely.
Right. So I'll even put a little sprinkle on my salad. So if I'm not getting enough, I'm not doing it to taste, because I stopped eating salt to taste. So then Lori's asking, how much salt would you put in your water? Just sprinkle it in? Is there a?
Yeah, so there's a doctor, Dr. Batman Jaldish. His whole life's work came down to, he was like a prisoner of war, and he was like, had to deal with all these issues, and he didn't have any means or mechanisms, and he used water and salt as his primary tools to clear all these illnesses. And so his recommendation is like 1/8 of a teaspoon for every glass. So for 1 liter, we should be looking at like 1/2 of a teaspoon. So if you think about, if you're drinking 3 liters of water, roughly, so 1.5 teaspoons of salt a day, that's a lot. If you measure that out at the beginning of the day.
And just remember, guys, not regular table salt. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
It's very bad. but Celtic sea salt, you
Or
know,
Himalayan even, like,
Himalayan,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's actually good for you. Okay, and this is kind of like a paradigm shift. Okay, so I'm going to open up the floor to some questions now, and I'm going to let you know that we're going to add an additional, if Charlene will come back, because I would like you to talk about food next, but we're going to add an extra session in the next 3 weeks. Okay, so I'll talk to Charlene if you will come back and go into the next discussions around foods. But if I could say also, we're going to open the floor for a sec for questions. But if we could also take the same concepts around what we've talked about with our water and energy, okay, and shifting the frequency. If you can do the same things with the other things you're consuming. So if you can take the same protocols, tools, advice that you've heard here tonight with regards to your water, and also start to do that with other things that you are consuming, including and not limited to your toothpaste, anything else you are ingesting, any toxic chemicals or cleaners you're using in your homes, what kinds of foods you're eating. If you can start to actually ask for the vibrational patterns, just try it. Okay, start asking about the vibrational patterns of the things that you are consuming. Okay, and this also means obviously other things like media, television, all those things, friends, all the things. But in this context, if we can start to think about what we are consuming, ingesting, and start to truth test, is this in my greatest and highest good? Is this vibrating? Is there anything I can do to increase the vibrational frequency or restructure, this food that I'm about to eat? That is what praying on your food means. It's giving gratitude for the food or the water that you're about to consume. There's amazing amounts of information, you guys, that you can get on the things that you are consuming and that you didn't even think about, because why would you? We were never taught any of this. So what I'm going to ask you to do before I open up the questions is that the homework is definitely your water and start to find the best solution for you for how you can properly hydrate yourself. You can truth test those questions. Am I dehydrated? Yes or no? Is how much more water do I need to intake? You can ask these questions, right? Start to even work with the water in your body, using it to flush, talking to your body and saying, thank you, body. Thank you for functioning the way that you are. Asking it to flush out any toxins you don't need. So really using this discussion around the water as a whole and what it's inside of us to really start to rethink about what you can shift yourself just with your own intention. But we're going to bring you back, please, to talk about food, because Charlene is she's a master chef and she has amazing recipes and things to share. So I would really like you to come back if you would. But I'll talk to you about that, but we'll do a pop-up, okay, in the next coming weeks. So I'm going to open the floor now up to any questions that you have for Charlene. We've answered some of them as we go.
I will also offer, while we're seeing if there's any questions, I do have a recipe for an adrenal mocktail.
Love it. Okay.
So I can share the link with you, Alicia. It's kind of, I actually might even be on my website. I don't know. Let me just see if it's
you can share and I will add it to the portal, and I'll email it out to the group. And if there's anything else you want to add, as well as the details of how to get in touch with you.
So I'm really big on mocktails in the last couple of years. So I have a recipe book that has different mocktails actually made with something very interesting. Not all of them, but some of them. A lot of them I played around with using flavored balsamic vinegars instead of anything that has sweeteners. Like, anyway, I'm happy to share that with you.
Yes, please. Yes.
Oh, I do have an adrenal mocktail here. It's
Yeah, send it to me and then we will.
I can also put it in the chat if you like.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Do that too. Then Ildiko has a question. Can the Celtic salt water entirely replace the electrolyte supplements or drinks?
Close. Very close.
Okay.
It's not quite complete, but it's very close. I think there's 70 in most salts that has been found, and there's actually 72 trace minerals that we need. So it's very close and better than having nothing at all. And I think it's also a very cost-effective way, to be completely honest. And if it helps with compliance, right? Like, it's easy to put on your food, it's easy to sprinkle in your water, sprinkle on your hand. Like, the idea is to get it in you.
Yeah,
So,
and it's not expensive. It's cheap. Like salt is, Redmond salt is, I don't know how much for, like, mine's lasted me almost a year.
Probably in Canada, but here in Mexico, it's $50 one bag of Celtic salt.
What?
So that's why I'm.
Bag of Celtic salt is $50 in Mexico?
Yes, yes. That's why I'm asking. But if it's really good, then it's worth it. I mean, because the electrolyte is also very expensive.
do you have access to
Lori said we can mail her some.
You are so sweet, guys, but the mailing service is also very expensive.
do you have access to Himalayan salt there at more
Yes,
affordable?
but also there is a debate around that because they say that's not all is the real one. It's just painted. So I'm not even sure.
Have you checked if you can get that Redmond brand?
Well, it's same, very expensive, very expensive.
Same,
It's about $45-50 also, the same thing.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Idaho, are you near the ocean?
Yes.
Okay, I know it sounds crack, but honestly, drinking some seawater is probably just as good. Seriously. I am so serious. I know that sounds ridiculous.
There are some local sea salt brands, I think, here though. Is there?
Pardon?
So there are some local sea salt brands, so that might work. If you say that might work, then
get the local, yes. And then truth test it, Ildiko. Truth test it. Okay, is this the right sea salt for me? I'm getting a yes on this. Your local sea salt. You're literally right there at the source. It actually sounds pretty funny that they're charging for Celtic sea salt when you're right there.
It's the brand, I think, the brand, I mean, or the fame.
So truth test it then, Ildiko. Yeah, for sure.
Good.
Okay,
thank you. Thank you.
Next.
Oh, me? Oh yeah. I had a question for Charlene. So on your website for your for your mocktail thing, collagen powder. I actually have it and started putting in my smoothies. What is considered a scoop, and how much is too much collagen powder or not enough?
Yeah, so that's really great, and it depends on what brand you're buying. So I would just go buy the powder that you're Bulk Barn.
Yeah, it was on sale.
Yeah.
I know it's not the best, but that's where I'm starting. I'm just starting.
Yeah. I would say like a tablespoon, a heaping tablespoon would be okay.
Okay, so I'm not putting enough. Okay.
Remember to truth test too, you guys. You can always truth test.
Perfect.
Right? The vibrational pattern, is this enough? Isn't I do this with all my supplements. Literally still daily, because sometimes my body needs certain amounts and sometimes it does not.
Okay, I think that's a really good lead into like truth testing for how much water you need. Like I recommend, I mean, I do a very calculated measurement for my clients, but maybe doing that for yourself, like testing yourself, how many liters of water a day.
Yeah.
And this is just a little hack for me. Rather than counting glasses, I like to count liters, just because it's easier for me. Like if I'm counting glasses and I'm going for 12, I get kind of confused. Like, was that 10 yesterday or 6? Like, where was I? So if you haven't already measured what your drinking container holds, I would say start with that measure and just understand how much it holds, so you know how much to drink. And then, yeah, I think you're right, Alicia. Allow everyone, or I think that'd be great. Just test yourself, see how much water you think you should be having.
Yeah. And then Carly, someone had asked about the right crystals to use. Again, things like clear quartz are very amplifying and clearing. You can add things like, you can add the darker crystals like onyx and tourmalines to transmute negativity. I mean, I don't think you can kind of go wrong with what crystals you're infusing with. Shungite, I'm sure, is really good for water. We really do have to start understanding that we can work with all these elements, right? Like, it's not like one thing is the answer. It's, and I love that we're asking these questions, because that's what it's actually all about. What can we do? What have we not thought of? To that simple exercise of shifting your frequency of your water that we did today. I mean, you can literally do that with everything. What is the vibrational frequency of this meal I'm about to make? Even the way that you're preparing it, and I know Charlene could talk for days on this, but the foods, the way that, you're gathering them, where you're buying them from, are they, it doesn't have to have a label on it that says organic, that these are the things that we need to start to shift, right? And we can put love and intention and frequency into the foods that we're putting in our body. Now, I don't necessarily think we can do that if we were eating McDonald's every day, but the frequency of the McDonald's is probably not a baseline to begin with, right? So if we can really just start to think about, how we're supporting the physical vessel, how we are, Charlene also does a lot of work with hormone balancing and weight loss, metabolic processes, and all of these other things. And I'm rooting for you, Charlene, to start to go back to your energetic roots, because I think you add this to what you're doing, like you're already there, you're brilliant at what you do. And I'm so grateful for you. And thank you for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. Does anybody else have any more questions? Okay, so I'm going to add her contact information, but I'm hoping she'll be along for the ride for the next couple of weeks with us. And that I'm hoping that you will come back and do another pop-up with her, with focus more on foods next, would be really great.
Yes, we can arrange that, sure.
Okay, I would appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, everybody. So we will get notes up, the recording up. So remember that your homework between this week and next week, start to truth test now. You're going to keep the homework from the first week. So I want you to keep asking, why is this happening for me? If you stay in that high vibrational bliss, like Kate is, all the better. And perhaps maybe that's the point, right? Perhaps the point is to recognize that you're not actually in a low vibrational place, okay? Next week, I believe we are going to be tuning in on our emotional body. So we are going to be doing some work on emotional release, I believe cords, and some clearing as well. So we're going to go through sort of protocols for keeping your energetic and emotional and spiritual bodies sort of clean and clear. Okay, so until then, this week, I'd love you to focus on your physical bodies, if you could, and adjusting some things and sort of truth testing some things. How much water do I need? What supplements do I need? What is supporting me today? And remember, it could be different. Like I said, I check every morning. Do I need this today? Is it 1, 2, or 3,000 IUs of vitamin D that I need? I literally check with my body on a daily basis. So tune into your body, truth test with it, use your body pendulum, ask what your body needs. Start to practice that this week, along with just being the observer of the situations and the energies and frequencies. And most importantly, you guys, we are really experiencing a lot of solar energetic shifting. Please keep yourself hydrated. This conversation on water intake could not have come at a better time. Okay, lots of rest, lots of sleep, Saltwater baths are also amazing. Also, please, one more thing, remember that water is a portal. That's why the bathroom is a portal. That's why, right? So make sure you're clearing and, you know, just using the water to do what it's there, what it's meant to do. Okay, everybody. All right, great week 2. Thank you so much, Charlene. All Charlene's details will be also in the portal. We will put them all there. Okay. All right, everybody. We'll see you next Monday night. Keep
Good night.
hydrating. Bye.
Good night.
Night.